presenting to you the Global Impact Factor Alliance. We will continue our conversation today on Agenda 2063, the first continental report on the implementation of Agenda 2063. The agenda items are driven by 7 aspirations. We would look at those again independently. The document organization presents the founding fathers of the OAU, Office Organization of African Union, and it goes through the agenda with the forward. Excellent photography, actually. There's a preface that describes the document, who are the potential authors, the organization of the document. The acknowledgments is given by the African Union, the table of acronyms that you probably need to know. The key acronym I think is important, and the number one acronym, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, something that the Global Impact Factor Alliance plans to work on to support and promote the diaspora in understanding Africa. Part of what the TGIFA will do is to move some of this data from this report to a mapping base so you can quickly go through the map and see what these goals have been and what has the accomplishments has also been. So that's the acronym page. Then the next page goes over the table of contents. And last week, we covered everything up to the introduction, and we looked at up to page 7. Now, today, we're just going to look at the goals. We're not going to read every aspect of the goals. Then we will get through today just looking at all the goals, and then we'll also look at the dashboard, starting with the main dashboard showing you the overall accomplishments. That's our goal for today, getting those 2 pieces done. So let's continue. Let's continue our conversation, and let me tell you a bit more about the Global Impact Factor Alliance. The Global Impact Factor Alliance, and why I think it's important to state this, is it started based on a formula that was developed by Charles White in 1998. And the formula was looking at a means of measuring the impact of our leaders or governments or those who are held in a position of authority that who can influence the health and welfare of the general public. Now, this formula was hoped to measure the impact of these leaders or these global organizations, national, state, or whichever organization, to see how well they can succeed at doing that. Now, the formula was also supposed to be able to predict outcomes. Now, in reading Agenda 2063, it seems as though I have found a measuring rod that I can put into that formula to see what those outcomes might be. So we have a document prepared by the African Union that looked at many of these elements. So let's go to the agenda and share the screen. We'll go to okay, in front of you is, let's go first to what we did look at last week. These were the aspirations, it was called. Let's see if I can make this. Oh no, excuse me. This is not what you want to see. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not just showing you my screen. Let's try it again. I'm not sure if it's showing correctly, so I'm going to just show you the screen from this angle. Okay, these were the aspirations identified by the African Union. Let's make it 100%. I think you can see the screen. Let's make this a bit smaller. Okay, there we go. Okay, aspiration one. So the percentages is what the African Union and the reviewers, the scholars who did this, believe the accomplishment has been in respect to Agenda 2063. Aspiration 1, a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. Aspiration 2, an integrated continent politically united and based on the ideals of Pan Africanism and a vision of the African Renaissance. Aspiration 4, an Africa of good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, and the rule of law. Aspiration 4, a peaceful and secure Africa. Aspiration 5, Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, value, and beliefs. Aspiration 6, an Africa whose development is people driven, relying on the potential of the African people. Aspiration 7, Africa as a strong and influential global partner. Apologize for the Africa when it's not properly capitalized. So those were the 7 aspirations. Now then there were 20 goals. Now you could organize these goals under specific aspirations and see how they line up. I don't think the document actually did that, but again, these were 20 goals: a high standard of living, quality of life and well-being, well-educated citizens and skills revolution underpinned by science, technology, and innovation, healthy and well-nourished citizens, transformed economies and job creation, modern agriculture for increased productivity and production, blue ocean economy for accelerated economic growth, environmentally sustainable, climate resilient economies and communities, United Africa Federal or Confederate, meaning that that's a work in progress, key continental financial and monetary institutions established and functional, world-class infrastructure, crisscrosses Africa, democratic values, practices, universal principles of human rights and justice. Those are the first 11 goals. Goal 12, capable institutions and transformed leadership in place at all levels. Peace, security, and stability are preserved. A stable and peaceful Africa. A fully functional and operational African peace and security architecture. African cultural renaissance is preeminent. Full gender equality in all spheres of life. Engaged and empowered youth and children. Africa is a major partner in global affairs and peaceful coexistence. Goal 20, Africa takes full responsibility for financing her development. Now, those were the goals. Now, the document is, then some of the questions I raised on the document itself was, what were the specific metrics, values given to come up with the percentages? Access to the raw data, and if the raw data is moved into some map features. So again, what were the values added to come up with these percentages as the accomplishments? Okay, what we observed in this document though, thus far, is the document looks at the regions of Africa. Now, the regions of Africa is 5 regions, and as we've been discussing lately, which was brought by the African Union, the Diaspora, which is considered the 6th region. Interestingly enough, though, in this document, the 6th region is not clearly defined. Now, going back through how the document works, it does then, after it goes over the goals, it presents the data. Let's go back to share drive. Okay, so once it presents the, let's increase the screen so you can see it. Okay, so after the goals are presented as described, okay, let's continue what we did last week. Now, we went over the executive summary. It discussed the percentages and what has been achieved in general. Of course, you may remember this, but I'm going to make sure I upload this file to my website so you can get it from my website. Then the agenda, it continues with the agenda on page 13. I mean, the table of contents. Again, I have to point out some really excellent photography. The recommendations which are made. Okay, let's see if I can. Okay, these are the goals which are presented from page 8. It describes the goals. It tells you how they were accomplished, some areas of where they were accomplished. Before we look at the goals itself, let's look at the scale, continental performance by agenda. So it lists the goal and what the review is the attainment of that goal. For instance, if we look at the scale of all the goals, goal 1, we see goal 9 is believed by the organization that they've the 92% achievement, and goal 15 is 76%. Every other goal is 50% or goal 19. So let's just quickly look at goal 19, 15, and goal 9. Those all have, well, and goal 1, goal 9, goal 15, and goal 19. Okay, let's look at it. 1, 9, 15, and 19. These are all at 50% or greater. 19 was 50. Goal 1 was 56. And goal 15 was 76. Okay, let's just jump back to the goals and see what they were. Those. Okay, goal 1, which they believe was accomplished at 56%, high standard of living, quality of life, and well-being. Okay, so if we can say that in regular English, we are saying that probably more than half of the continent of Africa is achieving a high standard of living, quality of life, and well-being for all. That means a country of 1.7 billion, we are saying close to 750 million people can say that. Maybe, maybe not. But we'll dig into that a bit deeper. Okay, that was goal number 1. Goal 9 is believed that a 92% achievement. Key continental financial and monetary institutions established and functioning. Okay, so that means there are places that has the money and potential ability to make loans, provide investment opportunities, and so forth. Okay, that was goal number 9. Now let's look at goal number 15, a fully functional operational African peace and security architecture. Exactly what that means. They say they believe that 76% have achieved this at a 76% level. Okay, that's what they said. And then at 50% level is goal number 19. Africa is a major partner in global affairs and peaceful coexistence. Okay, that's what they've said again. Again, it seems as though we really need to know what metrics are used to measure, who's speaking, and from what source base. Okay, so that was that. So let's continue looking at this document here. So these were the goals and what they believe was achieved. Now, from page 7 in the document, goal 1, it goes over each goal. It discusses how they achieved progress. It tells you where some of the progress was achieved. Like, for instance, in Ghana, some interventions were put into place to address unemployment, include policy reforms, design, and implementation of pro-poor flagship programs. So that was in goal 1, where they said that a 56% improvement. Okay, so then the document continues looking at the goals. That was goal 2, but we're going to look at goal 9, 15, and 19. But again, this is how the document is put together. Again, I will make this document available to everyone in my website, and I'll probably break it down even in pieces so it can be easily accessed. So goal 2, well-educated citizens, skills revolution underpinned by science, technology, and innovation. I do know. So that's goal 2. Let's go down. We have goal 3. That wasn't on the list of highly achieved. That's under 50%. Goal 4 is also under 50%, transforming economies and job creation. Goal 5, modern agriculture, is also under 50%. Goal 6, the blue ocean economy. Let's look at this goal 6 so we can both know, we all can know. During the period under review, Africa collectively worked towards promoting and positioning marine resources and energy as critical elements for accelerating economic growth. The continental performance realized only 20% of this expected value in 2019, partly owing to the very low proportion of marine biotechnology value added to the GDP. Okay, so that was the basis. The blue bond value of 15 million over 10 years aims to, okay, there's a bond that was floated somewhere. Okay, let's continue. That was goal 6. Goal 7, really underperforming this goal, only a 17%, but we want to get to goal 9. Based on the African Union, they have achieved this at a very high level. Key continental financial monetary institutions established and functional. Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Okay, I guess because of that alone, you can really go get that type of rating. One of the critical interventions towards ensuring that the continent has functional financial monetary institutions has been fast-tracking the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The overall performance of African member states on advancing the Africa Free Trade Area stands at 92% of the target set for 2019. To date, 54 countries have signed and 29 have ratified the agreement. Furthermore, the 12th AU Extraordinary Summit held in Niamey, Niger, in July 2019 approved the establishment of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat in Accra, Ghana. In addition, 22 signatories of legal instruments on the African Investment Bank have been registered. Okay, so just plan, people. I'm going to put on my agenda to do a deep review of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, provide a deep review and more data and information. We hope we can connect this data to maps so you can easily access what this means to each country in the agreement. In addition, that's the African Investment Bank. Plus, we're going to make another deep dive into the African Investment Bank to see exactly how that works, how that bank connects with Africa and with the world. Okay, while 12 has registered for the African Monetary Fund, so there are 12, the African Monetary Fund, plus we need to look into what that is all about also, the AMF. So that was goal number 9. Okay, so let's move on down to goal number 15. Goal 10 was the world-class infrastructure crisscrosses Africa. That's a piece that we probably should talk about because, as you know, China has really been trying to bring substantial investment to Africa. What role is China playing in this world-class infrastructure? Who else is in that space? So that was goal number 10. Goal 11, democratic values, practices, universal principle of human rights, justice, and the rule of law entrenched. So that's a tip scale that needs to be worked on. Goal 12, capable institutions and transform leadership in place at all levels. Okay, we look at that separately. We're heading now to goal number 15, which was at 76% attainment. Peace, security, and stability are preserved. Okay, goal 15. Here we are. A functional and operational African peace and security architecture. That means you have something in place to retain and maintain peace, not necessarily that it's happening. In pursuit of the continental level African peace and security architecture, this is fully functional. All member states establish or maintain national peace councils. This saw a record performance of 96% against the 2019 continental target. Now, this goal 15 is probably good to know. How do you really measure peace? What does peace look like? And I think, that's like a degree of accountability. to what's being said. That's goal 15. And let's go on now. African cultural renaissance is preeminent. A key measurement for preeminence of African cultural renaissance was the percentage of content in primary and secondary school education curriculum that is indigenous African culture, values, and language. Okay. So, and that seems to be something that should be one of the places that we should have been more successful. Once again, amazing color and photography. When I look at this, I'm just seeing financial opportunity. Why have I not seen some of these things in markets in Houston, Texas, in New York, in San Francisco, in Washington, D.C.? Seems like there are opportunities sitting in front of me. Moving on. Goal 17, full gen equality in all spheres of life. Well, you gotta get goal 12 and several goals working to even achieve goal 17. Okay, then we move into goal number 18. Goal 18. Okay, I missed goal 8. Goal 18, engage and empower the youth and children. Goal 18, that's what they plan to see, how they plan to do this. Youth empowerment was pursued in part through efforts geared at reducing unemployment rates among youth, but raised a very low score. Seems to me to achieve youth empowerment, you probably also have to achieve good health, nutrition, education also. So that was 18, and here's the next one, was at 50%. We were just looking at those who achieve. Africa is a major partner in global affairs and peaceful coexistence. Coexistence with whom and for whom? Let's see, one sentence. States such as Chad, Ethiopia, Guinea, Namibia, Niger, Seychelles, South Africa, Uganda, Tunisia, Zimbabwe adopted statistical legislations, thereby registering strong performance of 76% against the 2019 target on statistical legislation. Exactly what statistical legislation means, maybe we can dig into that deeply further. The legislations are a prerequisite for functional statistical systems that comply with fundamental principles of official statistics. Now, that seems to me to speak about data collection and data gathering. So if it's data, if it's public, maybe we should be able to get access to this data so we can tie that data to those same countries and better understand what is being said. Then finally, goal 20, Africa takes full responsibility for financing her development. Now, that's interesting, and that needs to be done because it seems as though right now Africa has more minerals, more resources than all the world, but yes, less money than everyone else to spend to improve itself. So clearly, the Agenda 2063 is identified. It's a good start. Now, the rest of the document from page 19 to the end seems to be a dashboard that's been put together to go through the rest of called the Cornell dashboard on implementation. So what this dashboard does, it looks at the entire performance assessment of the aspirations that we previously looked at, and then it tells you where they've ranked on the aspirations. So therefore, the aspirations, let's take a look at this first one. Areas where significant progress has been made. So these are recorded performance of 80% and so forth. So these must be tied to goals. Now, it'd been really nice if they had numbered the goals. I guess you understood. I guess this is goal number 1, and this is goal, let's see. Let's look at goal number 1, 56% right. And let's look at goal number 9 of 92% is right here. So that's okay. So green is good, over 76%. So what they've done, they've broken out goal achievement in these colors. The bright green is good. The lighter kind of green is okay, it's about 50%. So you should have 4 colors, right? So they did just what we did. Then, let me point out to who might ever be listening that I'm doing this right now. I didn't pre-plan this, or did I pre-planned my presentation, so we're both hearing the same thing at the same time. So this is how it looks. And then the red is bad. The orange is not as bad, but it's also bad. So the red, I guess, is terrible, bad, okay is the green. Then we really doing something great here. So using a 4-scale basis, something that probably should be reconsidered, really, because at any of these type of goals under 50%, you're basically saying it's acceptable to some degree for half of the people to be not be achieving or meeting anything. So I don't know. Again, that's up to these guys how they did it. So areas where progress has been slow. So AU member states rest at a low of achievement rate on 60% of the 2019 on economic growth. Once again, it does seem as though it would have been really nice to tie these numbers into the specific goal numbers and or the aspirations to like cross tabulate them directly. Something I might find someone to do for us. Area of support to accelerate implementation of Agenda 2063. So again, these are the goals, how they broke down. These are how they rated the overall aspirations. So aspiration, what it means is to achieve something you're going to go after. Aspire. So these are the aspirations here. So if you measure the 32%, we're basically saying pretty bad, pretty bad. Okay, moving on through the document. Let's now look at the performance on implementation of Agenda 2063 at the aspiration level by region. Now, before we dig into the region breakup, I want us to look at the regions themselves. I am not prepared to do my mapping piece with you tonight. I was hoping to do that. But what I'm working on behalf of the Global Impact Factor Alliance, on behalf of the African Diaspora Development Institute, on behalf of anybody who wants to know more and understand deeper, is to be able to do just what you're looking at in this map, but do it graphically as a mapping tool where we can jump through the map and see these information tied to them. So now, looking at East Africa, I guess my apology, I don't know the name of every country here, but I do know we have Ethiopia, we have Tanzania inside of this piece of the map here. Why I say Tanzania, I have a special interest in Tanzania right at this moment in time, because we have a young man in Tanzania who is really exceptional in his commitment to see Africa, that the Africa we all want, an Africa that is aspiring, or not just aspiring, but an Africa where the people are experiencing a quality of life and the health and the welfare of the general is indeed across the general public, whereby when we look at these type of numbers, these numbers will be totally unacceptable. We should be talking about numbers that's 75% and above, because these type of numbers tell us that we're in trouble, basically. Okay, so let's look at so this is how the Africa diaspora, how Africa is broken up into these aspirations, and this tells you the achievement basis of every section of Africa based on those aspirations. So if you were to then look at any grouping of countries, a quick look, one can say that overall, East Africa is performing best than all other sectors of Africa, because the aspiration colors are in the green. You have 3 greens and some oranges, no reds. So we can say that they're doing better compared to, let's say, Southern Africa, where we have 3 reds and 3 oranges. And Central Africa is doing just as equally as well as Southern Africa with 3 reds and 3 oranges. 3 reds and 4 oranges, 3 reds and 4 oranges, whereby in West Africa, again, West Africa Interesting enough, I think in West Africa, this is Nigeria right here, and Ghana, and Ivory Coast, and Senegal, and Sierra Leone. You'd expect them to be doing really kicking. I mean, but this is their score. Well, they're doing better than the other three regions, not as good as East Africa, because there's one green, two, four oranges, and two reds. Then again, there's also North Africa. Once again, I'm surprised by those numbers again, but that's what we have. 5 oranges and 1 red. So this is the breakdown. Again, I love to have this map with these countries in them. When you think of the African Diaspora Development Institute connecting with the diaspora, everyone in the diaspora doesn't know quickly every single country, who is who, what is what. So I think it'd be really imperative to build information such that our level of intelligence and knowledge can be built as we review documents such as this. Okay, moving on from this map, let's go to page number 22. So now the next steps the document goes, it looks at each section or each region based on a dashboard and how that region performed. So if we went back to this map and we looked at the East Africa, we should see the same piece of information. Then it should break it down at the goal level. So let's just run through these pages. Page 23, it looks at Southern Africa dashboard. Now, let's see if they list the name of the countries in the Southern Africa dashboard. Let's see. Areas of support to accelerate implementation of Agenda 2063. Okay, you see, it would have been really easy, and I'm going to definitely do this, because I can easily take each page, move this data to an Excel spreadsheet, and have it mapped. So next time we will blister through, well, it'll probably take me a month to get this done. But they really could have put the name of the countries, but they didn't. They just put the South Africa dashboard. Okay, so that's what they have. Southern Africa dashboard, East Africa dashboard, West Africa dashboard. Let's see, West Africa dashboard. Let's see something here. West Africa dashboard took up 2 pages. And if this has 180% performance on increasing the contribution tourism, to have 180%, how do you get that? That's interesting. That's more than you expected, I guess. Okay. Let's go to the next page. Central African dashboard. Overall score is 25%. Let's run back here really quickly. South is 25%. East Africa is 39% overall achievement. Overall score in West Africa is 33%. Overall score in Central Africa is 25%. Overall score in North Africa is 36%. So in essence, they're really all not that far apart. So one might call that in math, the standard deviation between each of them is really not that great. It's probably 1 deviation between the difference of all of them, because the average was 32%, I believe we read. So they're all very close to each other. So in essence, well, this is the furthest to the south of the deviation. In the negative direction is Central Africa. East Africa, well, it's about the same. It's the average of 32. That's 7 points to the right, while Central Africa was 7 points to the left. So that's exactly right. Okay, let's continue. This was Southern Africa. Now we're going to go to the next part of the document. I guess this document just based on a photograph. Beautiful photograph. Looks like a road I've seen in Houston, Texas. Nice time lapse. Okay, progress on the implementation of African Union flagship projects. Flagship projects. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement. We will spend some serious time into this again, because they've now moved on from goals to certain objectives, and we need to figure this thing out quickly into some detail. It's now April the the 9th or the 8th, the 9th. So we need to have this aspect of this document fully understood. And I have that on my agenda already to work on. I believe so. If I'm not, let me just make another note of this. The Africa Free Trade Agreement is preeminent for understanding very quickly and to put that into the database so others can access it quickly. But here's the progress to date. They have identified, and they called it remarkable progress. You might remember this was the one of the key points in the goals that had a 92% in their estimation of achievement. It goes into force, let me say, agreement into force of May the 30th, 2019. And then the Africa Free Trade Agreement operational phase was launched in July 2019. Let's see. Here we go. Item number 6. The agreement will start trading under this regime on July the 1st of 2020. Are we ready to trade? Are we ready to participate in this on July the 1st, 2020? We don't need to know if we're ready in July. We need to know if we're ready in the next month. So by May the 15th, let's call like any academic institution, by the end of the semester, we don't need to say we're looking for a job. We need to have a job. So by May the 15th, 2020, we need to know and understand what it is this means to us in the diaspora and how we're going to connect to this. So we have a month and about a month and a half to get this thing done and to fully understand this. So that's our day. The green will start trading under the regime on July the 1st of 2020. We need to have our ducks lined up. I hope, my friend in Tanzania, we have a small game plan in place in under the Africa Diaspora Development Institute or under the Africa Digital Divide Incorporated, where we're going to get something working, but we need to be a participant in this. This needs to happen. The next item, progress to date, was the interim secretary has been set up at the AUC. Okay, let's see. I am on page number 27. African Union Council, Congress. Let's just go up here and see what it means. No need to be guessing what something means now. Let's go and find out. I think this is right here. AUC, African Union Commission. Okay, let's go back to where we stopped. Page 27. Okay. We know our marching orders. May the 15th, we need to understand this at a deeper level. We need members and willingness to join in. It seems to me a database of opportunities will be very helpful. Therefore, if ADDI can do so, it'll be a great thing. But I know for certain the Global Impact Factor Alliance will be prepared, ready, and able. You'll see a demonstration of a working, functional piece in the next 15 days. That would be, today's the 9th. By April the 25th, we'll have a functional dashboard to help in making the Africa Free Trade Agreement a reality for members of the diaspora. April the 25th, that's my deadline. Okay, let's move on. Here are the challenges. Great. Inadequate human and financial resources for completion of negotiations for phase 1. Okay, so therefore we have to fully understand what phase 1 is and why you have inadequate human resources. The diaspora has 175 million people. Of that 175, probably the most educated Black people you find in the world is part of the diaspora. Plus, there are people on the continent that can do this. So why are we having a human resource issue? Once again, a void that can be filled. Okay, let's see. For completion of negotiation for phase 1 issues as well to start phase 2. So I need to understand fully what is phase 1 and what is phase 2. Some member states and partners are negotiating bilateral trade and investment agreements with third parties, which is against the spirit. Okay. Hey, it sounds like one of these divide and conquer movements. The AU and whoever should just begin to realize they're probably not moving fast enough, so the others are moving away from them to take care of their own countries, realizing that Africa is a number of countries, sovereign states, and each sovereign leader has a responsibility to their constituents. That might be the reason. Therefore, AU or whomever, something is happening. Work quickly, get it put together. Heavy reliance of Africa free trade agreements, smooth implementation, and the progress of other projects such as, okay, so these projects, I'm sure they back up in the, let's go back up there and see what these are. PIDA, CAADP, and SAATM. We just know quickly, and the protocol of free movement of people. Well, I hope some of this has to do with members of the diaspora being able to get into Africa without having to fight to do so. It'd be great to say, hey, I'm going home. When I get to the airport, they just have to look at me and say, okay, you pass. Come on in. Now let's see what those stand for real quick. Where is my acronym table? I think this was my acronym table right here. Was it? Nope. Nope. Where's my acronym table? I didn't pay attention to it just now. So give me a second to find my acronym table. Well. I found it the first time very quickly, but this time I'm not going directly to it. Oh, here we are, right here, my acronym table. Okay, we're looking for CAADP, Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program. You know what that is. The next one we need to know about is the PIDA, PIDA, Program of Infrastructure Development in Africa. Big deals, both of them, big dollar items, needs cooperation, coordination, and definitely practical approaches. Then the next one is SATAM, Single Africa Air Transport Market. Man, those are the three big areas that we have to understand fully. Need a diaspora in them. Okay, let's go back. We only have 4 minutes, which we'll conclude today. So let's find a good spot to stop. Okay, so we're looking at the progress of implementation. In essence, the Africa Free Trade Agreement is called the Free Trade Area. It does seem to be this is one space that the AU is saying, hey, we are successful in this space. And truly, if the AU is truly successful in this space, several of the other aspirations and goals can come to fruition. Therefore, diaspora, if you're hearing me, now is the time to figure this thing out. So I'm going to put people in space who can help make this happen. These were the challenges. Next steps. Flexible mechanism for mobilizing resources will be established to ensure smooth implementation. What does that mean? I have no idea. Number 2, oops, didn't mean to change my page, but we will stop at that page when I get there. In progress, these were the objectives. Oh, I missed my line. Okay, right here, next steps. Arrangements will be made to continue sensitization and deepening understanding of stakeholders on the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and its benefits. It seems to me all we are saying here is just to make this thing plain so everybody can understand it and use it. You can just see just the use of the English language is saying to me, hey guys, what are we talking about? Let's make this thing plain, make it real. The diaspora is able to help make this thing happen. Okay, first, let's go to the next page once again. Where is this? This is amazing. Let's see if they give us a credit of where this is located. Okay, guys, you're using some photography. It'd be nice to give us a name of what we're looking at, but hey, I can find it. It's a port city, these type of buildings. Wouldn't be too difficult for me to find this. Let's see if we can find a ship, find a number. We can put in the number of the ship, and we will know where this was. Let's see if we can blow this up some more so we can see the ship number, because I want to know where we are. So let's see if we can figure this out. Okay, cannot see the number of the ship. But hey, we'll find this. So anybody who's listening, I need to know where this is located. Okay, good people, it's now 7:59. We'll shut this thing down in the next hour. Let's go back to my page. We will continue our talk on this document. I hope this has been informative. I hope it's been helpful. Africa is indeed in need of the diaspora. I didn't want to say it before, but I'll say it now. It's clear the document seems to attempt to do lots of things, but something is left out. Let's talk about it next time. Thank you for joining in. We will continue next time from this section right here. Let's see where it says. Looking at objectives and some of the challenges. Thank you very much for listening.